So today I'm trying something a little bit different. I'm out here in central London. The time now is approximately 3:30 a.m. and I'm out here making a video for you guys. This camera comparison is going to be very different from any other camera comparison I've done before. We're going to be comparing 3 photos, 2 from the same phone, and of course it is the brand new Sony Xperia 1VI, and the third camera is a mystery camera, and I will reveal what it is at the end of this video. So in this video I'm going to give you 10 seconds to decide which one looks the best to you, then I'll reveal which one is which. That way we will truly see how good Sony's new auto mode is, and also how good my own photography skills are. And make sure you stick around to the end to find out what the mystery phone is. Anyway, first photo, St. Paul's. Alright, so here are 3 photos, and apologies for the terrible explainer in the intro of this video. That was the best I could do with just 2 hours sleep. But don't worry, everything will become very clear. And just for clarity, one of the photos on the Xperia will be shot with the brand new auto mode with all new AI capabilities, and the other Xperia photo will be shot using the Pro mode in the RAW format and edited by me. And the third photo is the mystery device. So I'm going to comment on these 3 photos, and then you'll have 10 seconds to make your unbiased decision as to which one looks the best to you. So the picture on the left looks quite nice, however it's the darkest of the 3, and it seems to have crushed the shadow details into oblivion, and you'll notice that the most right here. The photo on the right is indeed the brightest, and it does retain a lot of the details in the shadows, but the excessive lifting of those shadows have caused a loss of detail in the highlights, and you can see that right here. So to me, the center photo seems to be the most well balanced and arguably the best for detail, particularly when you look at the Cathedral. Now it's your turn. Take your time and see if the results here surprise you. So this one's just a quick one. It's between the Xperia auto mode and the mystery device. This was taken on the 48mm equivalent lens on the Sony, aka the 2x zoom. And my skin tones look better in the picture on the left, in my opinion. On the right, they just seem a bit too warm. However, the photo on the left does seem to be showing quite a bit of digital noise in the background, but sometimes smoothing can actually ruin a photo as well. So just make a snap decision. Overall, which one looks better to you? Okay, so that's the St. Paul photos. Right there, you just saw the regular 24mm and also the 50mm, or 48 to be more precise. And in this video, my plan is to hit all of the most photographed locations in London. So the next location is Canary Wharf Underground. So the sun's starting to come up. The train station should be open, and hopefully there'll be nobody there. That's the plan. We will see Elizabeth line just down there. So let's head in there and see what's going on. All right, so I'm here 5:15 a.m. in the morning. The train station isn't even open yet. So maybe this is a good time to tell you guys about this grip that I got here. This is the same grip you can use with Sony Alpha cameras, and it's also got the little monitor on the back. So right now I'm filming this footage with the Xperia 1VI with the primary camera, which is pretty fantastic. Anyway, if you're thinking about getting one of these grips, you should probably know the code name. Let me just find out what it is for you. It is the GP-VP T2BT. A very memorable name, of course. Anyway, I think the gates literally just opened to the train station. Yeah, it's open. Okay, this is a test of the ultra wide cameras, the 16mm equivalent. This particular set of escalators is photographed frequently because of the interesting skylight above. So let's start with the center photo. You'll notice, just like I did when I first saw this, it's very yellow, but the detail was good and it handles the bright highlights coming through the skylight pretty well. But my first impressions are the orange tint just isn't that accurate and it doesn't look that nice. To me, the other two photos seem closer to what it actually looked like. The key difference between those two photos is the one on the right has darker blue tones and a slight green hue on the concrete ceiling. The photo on the left looks great, but maybe slightly overexposed, but I don't think it's enough to ruin the picture. It's a tough one. Let me know what you think. So one of the reasons people really like that spot for photography is because of the backlighting, and you get this really nice natural light coming through the windows at the top of the escalator. It's a great test for HDR on the Xperia 1VI. Let me know how it held up against the mystery phone, and check out this photo here which I took manually. I also put it in Lightroom and did a little bit of editing on it. Anyway, that location was slightly newer, London Underground. The next location is a more oldie worldy location. Apparently they filmed some Harry Potter there. And did I ever tell you the story about that time I was in a Harry Potter movie? True story. Alright, this is Leadenhall Market. It was designed by John Croxton in 1440 and completed in 1449. He expanded the original hall into a large rectangular quadrangle, 2 stories high, complete with a public granary, massive storage rooms, and a small side chapel. Now I know what you're thinking, and you're right. Yes, I did read that directly off a Google search. Most people nowadays probably know this for the Harry Potter scene. Anyway, let's focus on the photos. There's so much detail in the architecture here, and all 3 photos captured it well. Now with that said, the image on the left is the brightest and the colors look accurate to me. The only critique here is that there's a slight overexposure that's causing the highlights to be blown out in the windows. The center photo leans into those warmer tones quite a bit, which also affects the red paintwork on the walls, making the reds a bit too saturated in my opinion, but it does keep a lot of detail in the brighter areas of the photo. Now, although the photo on the right appears to be the darkest, it has managed to keep all of the highlight detail and performs just as well as the middle photo did. However, it does seem to be crushing some of the darker tones down, for example the green around the door frame. Anyway, what do you want? You want pizza? You want coffee? You're a Harry Potter fan? It's all here in Leadenhall Market. You might want to check it out. And at this point, let me ask you a question. Any idea what the mystery phone might be? They finished building this place 1449, but just behind you is a very modern space age building. They call it the Lloyds building, so let's get an upward shot of that. Now, if you're looking for a cyberpunk looking location in London, for whatever reason, this is a good one. They call it the Lloyds building, but let me get to the point. The morning sun had risen, and you can see it peeking around the side of this spaceship. Building. The center photo, like the previous one, seems warmer, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's the same device. You know what they say about assumptions, don't you? Anyway, the details look good, but the image does seem to be a bit softer in terms of the sharpness compared to the other 2. The photo on the right has a slightly wider field of view, and that could be a clue for you. And these were all taken on the ultra wide cameras if you're wondering. Now the details at the top are very close. However, the photo on the left again seems to be slightly overexposed, particularly around this crane. But overall it's a pretty good image in my opinion. Now it's your turn. You have 10 seconds. So check it out guys, this is one of the most visited spots for photographs in Covent Garden in London, and check this out. I don't know if this is an official Banksy or not, but there is what appears to be a Banksy here on the wall. So we'll get a photo of that. This is where we are, Neals Yard, Borough of Camden. So I wasn't planning on commenting on this one, but I just couldn't resist. Princess Diana is holding a Harrods bag, and I used to work in Harrods, technology department. Well, at least I did until I got thrown out of the building. You know that scene in Mary Poppins where Mr. Banks gets fired from the bank? They punch a hole in his hat and turn his umbrella inside out. Yeah, that's how it pretty much went down just before they threw me out. They didn't like my jokes. Tough crowd. So this is Neals Yard, named after Thomas Neal, who received this piece of land from William III. And prior to 1970, it was a rat-infested area. It was so bad, it was unlisted on the maps. Nowadays, it's still infested, but mainly by tourists and Instagrammers. And that statement stays true even if you wake up at the crack of dawn like I did. I literally had to wait my turn to take this photo. And since we're talking about Instagram, I will be posting all of my edited photos from this video on Instagram. You can find me over there. Just search for WhatGear. That's one word. Anyway, let's talk about the photos. This is a regular 1x shot, aka the 24mm. The photo in the center and the image on the left look very similar, but with the center photo being ever so slightly brighter and a bit more vibrant. And you can see that mainly on the blue paintwork on the buildings. But for me, personally, the photo on the right pops the most, and that's the one that catches my eye. In terms of detail, they're all very close, but which one in your eyes looks the best? So my plan for Neals Yard was to shoot a 50mm photo with some foreground bokeh. Unfortunately, it's quite compact there, so I tried, but there was really not much I could have in front of the camera. So I ended up taking the 24mm. I think that one looked better. Anyway, on to the next one. What is the next one? Big Ben. Anyway, on to the next one. It is indeed the most iconic site in London, Big Ben. Alright, so now we're at Big Ben, Houses of Parliament, just over there. I am fading fast. I just had to look at my health app on my phone, and it turns out I only got an hour 15 minutes sleep last night. But check this out, memorial wall for everybody who passed away during COVID. God bless the dead. And behind us, House of Parliament, Big Ben. Let's get the shot. There's an archway over here, from the dark into the light. Let's go. So this photo is particularly challenging. The phones tend to either meter based off of the highlights or from the overall light that it can see, and this can cause a photo to be too dark or too bright. And we're seeing that in action here, well, at least in two of the photos. The image on the right is clearly too dark and the image on the left is clearly too bright. So for me, the center image strikes the perfect balance, and also the colors look pretty good and accurate too. But let me know if you disagree. Okay, so now I'm at one of the best places to photograph in London, in my opinion. It is the Leake Street Tunnel. Check out all the graffiti here, all the street art. Apparently Banksy started this all off down here. Nice. Alright, so I'm just going to say it. I overdid it with my pro mode photo here, and you'll probably be able to spot it instantly, but here's my opinions anyway. First of all, this place is fantastic. The graffiti on the ceiling here actually reminds me of a photo I took once at Hyper Japan, which is an event in London, whilst making another Xperia camera comparison. That was a few years ago though. There was a cosplayer literally dressed up like this person. Anyway, the most natural colors appear in the image on the left. You'll notice the color saturation is boosted in the image on the right. And the center, well, I think it looks good. Let me know what you think. Which one's your favorite? So what did you guys think of Leake Street and those three photos? Which one looked the best to you? Now, going back to a more historic building, which is Natural History Museum. Bunch of old bones and things like that in there. And there's a really nice shot from the top of the stairs that seems to be very popular. So that's what I'm going to try and get. However, I was meant to be here 45 minutes ago and the queue is now ridiculously long. The time now is nearly 11 a.m. So because I arrived late here at the Natural History Museum, now the photos that I wanted to take, which was from the top looking down over the entire museum, is basically impossible. Too many people here. However, I found this. It's a monkey. So I'm going to take a picture of the monkey with some architecture behind it. Okay, for the sake of speeding this one up, I think my pro picture is the best one here. And I'll give you a few clues by telling you why. The highlights are not overblown this time, which is a mistake that I've made a lot in this video. The brightness seems better than the others, just right in my opinion, and the shadow detail isn't too dark, it's just right. Now you might prefer the cooler tones or the extra brightness that you're seeing in the other two photos, and if you do, make sure you let me know in the comments and let me know if you chose my pro photo here or not. Alright, so I'm now at Tower Bridge at a secret location, which isn't that secret anymore because there's loads of people over there. Right next to the water. When the tide's out, you can get down here and get a really good shot, good angle of the Tower Bridge, which is what I've tried to do for you guys. And I am literally running on fumes now. I need to get home and get some sleep. Right, this one is a tough one. It's very easy to just choose the brightest and most colorful image at first glance. However, if you're looking for color accuracy, then I think you have to go with the picture on the left. Yes, it's a bit more contrasty and there are darker shadows and maybe it's crushing that detail a little bit, but in terms of the actual color of the Tower Bridge, that seems the most realistic to me. The center image and the image on the right are actually surprisingly very close. But arguably, I would say there's more detail in the image on the right, but now you can have your say. 10 seconds, which one looks the best to you? Make sure you leave a comment below and let me know. All right, so Tower Bridge is done. The last spot on this photography tour is a long distance shot of the Tower of London. So here we have the Tower of London, the ancient fortress in the heart of the city. That gate you see there at the front of the building, they call that Traitor's Gate. And a traitor is what you'll be if you don't subscribe. Joking. But really though. And as it happens, I made a camera comparison inside the Tower of London not too long ago. Similar to this, a blind camera comparison. I think you might find it interesting, especially if you want to see what's inside the Tower of London. So I'll link that at the end of this one. Anyway, Sony Xperia 1 Mark VI has an advanced shifting periscope zoom lens, and you're seeing that in action here. But can you tell which ones are the Sonys? The image on the left has natural color and amazing detail. The center photo has warm orange and yellow tones and quite a bit of sharpening going on. The photo on the right has boosted blue skies and basically no sharpening of the details. And I'll apologize for that right now. Which one looks the best to you? Which one do you like? Okay, so now it's time to reveal the mystery phone. If you thought it was the Google Pixel 8 Pro or the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra, you'd be wrong. It was in fact the iPhone 15 Pro Max. It's one of the most popular phones on the planet, and as it happens, it does actually use Sony sensors for its cameras. However, the image signal processing and the lenses are very different. I've had the Xperia 1VI for just over a week now, and it's really impressed me, and its performance in this video has also really impressed me. The auto mode has certainly leveled up in my opinion, and I believe this phone will be able to go toe to toe with some of the best camera phones in 2024 without using the Pro mode. But I won't go too in depth into the hardware and the specs and the upgrades in this video, as I've made a dedicated video all about that. I'll link that at the end. That wraps up the day. I'm going back home to put these photos on the computer, and then I'm going to bed. See you in the next one. Don't be late.